Hello, another time, all of you beautiful people. It's January 29th, 2025. I'm feeling better, got some good sleep. We're going to run through Leviticus 4 through 6 today. If you don't remember last time, I just basically, they got the tabernacle all built, and they just told about the different sacrifices and the stipulations to all those. In 1 through 3, the burnt offerings of like the ox, I guess, or like the bull, and like the sheep or the goats, offerings of grain, how everything has to be unleavened, and a peace offering. And it looks like on Leviticus 4, we're getting to the sin offering. So let's not waste any more time. I'm just going to go into this. The sin offering, Leviticus 4. Now the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the children of Israel, saying, if a person sins unintentionally against any of the commandments of the Lord in anything which ought not to be done, and does of them, if the anointed priest sins, bring the guilty on the people, then let him offer to the Lord for his sin, which he has sinned, a young bull without blemish as a sin offering. He shall bring a bull to the door of the tabernacle of meeting before the Lord, lay his hand on the bull's head, and kill the bull before the Lord. The anointed priest shall take some of the bull's blood and bring it to the tabernacle of meeting. The priest shall dip his finger in the blood and sprinkle some of the blood 7 times before the Lord in front of the veil of the sanctuary. And the priest shall put some of the blood on the horns of the altar of sweet incense before the Lord, which is in the tabernacle of meeting, and he shall pour the remaining blood of the bull at the base of the altar of the burnt offering, which is at the door of the tabernacle of meeting. He shall take from it all the fat of the bull as the sin offering, the fat that covers the entrails, and the fat which is on the entrails, the 2 kidneys, and the fat that is on them by the flanks, and the fatty lobe attached to the liver above the kidneys, he shall remove. As it was taken from the bull of the sacrifice of the peace offering, and the priest shall burn them on the altar of burnt offering. But the bull's hide and all its flesh, with its head and legs, and its entrails and offal, the whole bull shall be carried outside the camp to a clean place where the ashes are poured out, and burn it on the wood with fire. Where the ashes are poured out, it shall be burned. Now, the whole congregation of Israel sins unintentionally, or that's if, and the thing is hidden from the eyes of the assembly, and they have done something against any of the commandments of the Lord, if anything in which should not be done, are guilty. When the sin which they have committed becomes known, the assembly shall offer a young bull for the sin, and bring it before the tabernacle of meeting, and the elders of the congregation shall lay their hands on the head of the bull before the Lord. Then the bull shall be killed before the Lord. The anointed priest shall bring some of the bull's blood to the tabernacle of meeting. Then the priest shall dip his finger in the blood and sprinkle it 7 times before the Lord in front of the veil. And he shall put some of the blood of the horns on the altar, for which is before the Lord, which is in the tabernacle of meeting. And he shall pour the remaining blood at the base of the altar of burnt offering, which is at the door of the tabernacle of meeting. He shall take all the fat from it and burn it on the altar, and he shall do it with the bull as he did with the bull of sin offering. Thus he shall do with it. So the priest shall make atonement for them, and it shall be forgiven the sin. They shall carry the bull outside the camp and burn it as he burned the first bull. It is a sin offering for the assembly. When the ruler has sinned and done something unintentionally against any of the commandments of the Lord in anything which should not be done, and is guilty, or if his sin for which he has committed comes to his knowledge, for he shall bring his offering a kid of the goats, a male without blemish, and he shall lay his hand on the head of the goat and kill it at the place where they kill the burnt offering before the Lord. It is a sin offering. The priest shall take some of the blood of the sin offering with his finger, put it on the horns of the altar of burnt offering, and pour its blood at the base of the altar of burnt offering, and he shall burn all its fat on the altar, like the fat of the sacrifice of the peace offering. So the priest shall make atonement for him concerning his sin, and it shall be forgiven. If any one of the common people sin unintentionally by doing something against any of the commandments of the Lord, and anything that ought not to be done is guilty, or if his sin which he has committed comes to his knowledge, then he shall bring his offering, a kid of the goats, a female without blemish, for his sin which was committed. And he shall lay his hand on the head of the sin offering, and kill the sin offering at the place of the burnt offering. Then the priest shall take some of the blood with his finger, and put it on the horns of the altar of burnt offering, and pour all the remaining blood at the base of the altar. He shall remove all its fat, or as fat is removed from the sacrifice of the peace offering. The priest shall burn it on the altar for a sweet aroma to the Lord. So the priest shall make atonement for him, and it shall be forgiven. If he brings a lamb as his sin offering, he shall bring a female without blemish. Then he shall lay his hand on the head of the sin offering, and kill it as a sin offering at the place where they killed the burnt offering. The priest shall take some of the blood of the sin offering with his finger, put it on the horns of the altar of burnt offering, and pour all the remaining blood at the base of the altar. He shall remove all its fat, as the fat of the lamb is removed from the sacrifice of peace offering. Then the priest shall burn it on the altar, according to the offerings made by fire to the Lord. So the priest shall make atonement for his sins that he has committed, and it shall be forgiven. You know, I don't guess we got to that part. But I don't think they had the Bible back in this time, and they just had the commandments. So these guys were having to keep up with all these different stipulations, and know all the steps for each different kind of offering, depending on what kind of person the person was in society. That's a lot to keep up with, because right now we got all these instructions right here in Leviticus. But yeah, I mean, a lot of these offerings they seem similar, but they got their little tweaks here and there. And these poor animals, having to die because these people just can't stop sinning. Well, now on to Leviticus 5, the trespass offering. If a person sins in hearing the utterance of an oath, and is a witness, whether he has seen or known of the matter, if he does not tell it, he bears guilt. Or if a person touches anything unclean, whether it is the carcass of an unclean beast, or the carcass of unclean livestock, or the carcass of unclean creeping things, and he is unaware of it, he shall also be unclean and guilty. Or if he touches human uncleanliness, whatever uncleanliness with which a man may be defiled, and he is unaware of it, when he realizes it, he shall be guilty. Or if a person swears, speaking thoughtlessly with his lips to do evil or to do good, whatever it is that a man may pronounce by an oath, and he is unaware of it, when he realizes it, then he shall be guilty in any of these matters. I'm going to read that again, because it sounds like an oath is a sin. If a person swears, speaking thoughtlessly with his lips to do evil or to do good, whatever it is that a man may pronounce by an oath, and he is unaware of it, when he realizes it, he then shall be guilty in any of these matters. And it shall be, when he is guilty in any of these matters, that he shall confess that he has sinned in that thing, and he shall bring his trespass offering to the Lord for his sin which he has committed, a female from the flock, a lamb or a kid of the goats, as a sin offering. So the priest shall make atonement for him concerning his sin. If he is not able to bring a lamb, then he shall bring to the Lord for his trespass for which he committed 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons as one as a sin offering, and the other as a burnt offering. And then he shall bring them to the priest, who shall offer that which is for the sin offering first, and wring off its head from the neck, but shall not divide it completely. Then he shall sprinkle some of the blood of the sin offering on the side of the altar, and the rest of the blood shall be drained out at the base of the altar. It is a sin offering. And he shall offer for the second as a burnt offering according to the prescribed manner. So the priest shall make atonement for his behalf, for which his sin was committed, and it shall be forgiven. But if he's not able to bring 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, then he who has sinned shall bring for his offering 1/10 of an ephah of fine flour as a sin offering. He shall put no oil on it, nor shall he put frankincense on it, for it is a sin offering. Then he shall bring it to the priest, and the priest shall take his handful of it as a memorial portion and burn it on the altar according to the offerings made by the fire to the Lord, for it is a sin offering. The priest shall make atonement for him, for his son, or for his sin that he has committed in any of these matters, and it shall be forgiven. The rest shall be the priest's as a grain offering. I don't know. I wonder if these people, like, instead of bringing like a goat or like trying to catch some birds, they just brought like flour. They're like, here you go. Here's some flour. I'm too lazy to go get these birds, or I don't want to kill my sheep. And then, I wonder if that's a sin in itself. But yeah. So, last part of Leviticus 5. Offerings with restitution. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, if a person commits a trespass and sins unintentionally in regard to the holy things of the Lord, then he shall bring to the Lord as his trespass offering a ram without blemish from the flocks, with your valuation in shekels of silver, according to the shekel of the sanctuary, as a trespass offering. Then he shall make restitution for the harm that he has done in regard to the holy thing, and shall add 1/5 to it and give it to the priest. So the priest shall make atonement for him, and the ram of the trespass offering, it shall be forgiven. If a person sins and commits any of these things which are forbidden to be done by the commandments of the Lord, though he does not know it, yet he is guilty and shall bear his iniquity. And he shall bring to the priest a ram without blemish from the flock, with your valuation as a trespass offering. So the priest shall make atonement for him regarding his ignorance, in which he erred and did not know, and it shall be forgiven. It is a trespass offering. He has certainly trespassed against the Lord. I wonder if, it's a lot to keep up with, and they're not aware of their guilt. That sometimes, if like yearly or monthly, they just make a sacrifice, to cleanse their soul, even if they're guilty or not guilty for whatever they may have done, just to keep a clean slate. Yeah, I feel like I would have liked to do that. It would give me some peace of mind back then, but yeah, food for thought. On to Leviticus 6. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, if a person sins and commits a trespass against the Lord by lying to his neighbor about what was delivered to him for safekeeping, or about a pledge, or about robbery, or he has extorted from his neighbor, or he found what was lost and lies concerning it, and swears falsely, in any of these that a man may do in which he sins, then it shall be, because he has sinned and is guilty, that he shall restore what was stolen, or the thing which he has extorted, or what was delivered to him for safekeeping, or the lost thing which was found, or all about which he has sworn falsely. He shall restore its full value, and 1/5 more to it, and give it to whomever it belongs on the day of the trespass offering. Then he shall bring his trespass offering to the Lord, a ram without blemish from the flock, with your valuation, a trespass offering to the priest. So the priest shall make atonement for him before the Lord, and he shall be forgiven for any one of these things that he may have done. So I wonder if, so you lie about 2 different things, and so you got to sacrifice 2 rams and, restore the full value of those 2 things. even if they were like both kind of like in the same, like one general lie, there's like two different little lies in there. I bet so. On to the law of the burnt offering. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Command Aaron and his sons, saying, This is the law of the burnt offering. The burnt offering shall be on the hearth upon the altar night, or upon the altar all night until morning, and the fire of the altar shall be kept burning on it. And the priest shall put on his linen garment and his linen trousers, and he shall put on his body, and take up the ashes of the burnt offering, which the fire had consumed on the altar, and he shall put them beside the altar. Then he shall take off his garments, put on other garments, and carry the ashes outside the camp to a clean place. And the fire on the altar shall be kept burning on it, it shall not be put out. And the priest shall burn wood on it every morning, and lay the burnt offering in order on it, and he shall burn on it the fat of the peace offerings. The fire shall always be burning on the altar, it should never go out. And you see right there where they had their holy garments on while they were at the tabernacle, and then when they were taking the ashes out to the wood, they had to change their clothes. And so, onto the law of the grain offering. This is the law of the grain offering. The sons of Aaron shall offer it on the altar before the Lord, and he shall take from it his handful of fine flour from the grain offering, with its oil and all the frankincense which is on the grain offering, and shall burn it on the altar for a sweet aroma as a memorial to the Lord. And as the remainder of it, Aaron and his sons shall eat with unleavened bread. It shall be eaten in the holy place, in the court of the tabernacle of meeting. They shall eat it. I wonder if they got like way more flour and they had to eat a whole lot of unleavened bread from people sinning a lot. But I think a lot of people had a lot more fear for the Lord back then than they do now, so there wasn't near as much sin. Could you imagine them eating all that bread these days? But no one even asks for forgiveness, it seems like, anymore. Or I say no one, but you know what I mean. Just like, the world's full of sin these days, and there should be a lot more forgiveness being asked. So anyway, that's my rant. I'll keep going. It shall not be baked with leaven. I have given it as a portion of my offering made by fire. It is most holy, like the sin offering and the trespass offering. All the males among the children of Aaron may eat it. It shall be a statute forever in your generations concerning the offerings made by fire to the Lord. Everyone who touches them must be holy. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, This is the offering of Aaron and his sons, which they shall offer to the Lord, beginning on the day in which he is anointed, 1/10 of an ephah of fine flour, as a daily grain offering, half of it in the morning, and half of it at night. It shall be made in a pan with oil. When it is mixed, you shall bring it in. The baked pieces of the grain offering you shall offer for a sweet aroma to the Lord. The priest from among his sons who is anointed in the place shall offer it. It is a statute forever to the Lord. It shall be wholly burned. For every grain offering for the priest shall be wholly burned. It shall not be eaten. And I wonder if like the priests, if they sin, like if they have like a special offering. I feel like it was mentioned maybe back in Leviticus 5 or maybe in 4. Like if a Lord does something. But I wonder if it's like applying to Aaron and his sons. So, yep. On to the last bit of Leviticus 6, the law of the sin offering. Also the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to Aaron and his sons, saying, This is the law of the sin offering. In the place where the burnt offering is killed, the sin offering shall be killed before the Lord. It is most holy. The priest who offers it for a sin shall eat it. In a holy place it shall be eaten, in the court of the tabernacle of meeting. Everyone who touches its flesh must be holy. And when the blood is sprinkled on any garment, you shall wash that on which it was sprinkled was in a holy place. But the earthen vessel in which it is boiled shall be broken. If it is boiled in a bronze pot, it shall be both scoured and rinsed in water. All the males among the priests may eat it. It is most holy. But no sin offering from which any of the blood is brought into the tabernacle of meeting to make atonement in the holy place shall be eaten. It shall be burned in the fire. There we go. I wonder, like, when it says, like, the people have to be holy to, like, eat these things. If they, if, like, any person can be holy, or do they have to be, like, consecrated and anointed by, like, Aaron and his sons? Well, maybe one of y'all can enlighten me. But that's going to do it for today. Thank y'all for tuning in. We got a whole lot of more instructions about what to do when people sin and the stipulations to the offerings. Thank you for being with me. And just like, comment, and subscribe. And keep following along on the journey. Thank you. Have a good one.